Hi, welcome to the third annual SORA Economic Forum. I'm your host for today, Makoto Takemiya. I'm the group CEO and co-founder of Soramitsu, and I'm also a contributor to Sora. The SORA Economic Forum is all about sharing the latest innovations in technology, economics, and governance, and how these can be applied to improve humanity. We wanted to host this event last year, but we're too busy. So this year, we're coming back in full force, and we have 14 hours of talks for you this year. And I'm going to be kicking it off with a talk about SORA version 3, but we're not going to stop there. The next speaker is going to be Clément, who is going to talk about monetary infrastructure in a very precise and detailed way. We have Dr. Asman Sami from the Central Bank of Egypt, and she'll talk about the antitrust policy in the financial market. We have Dr. El-Walid Ahmed Talha, who's going to be talking about the role of monetary and fiscal policies in economic growth. We have Jean-Baptiste Aboyetungie from the Central Bank of Burundi, who's going to be talking about the role of central banks in the face of climate change. We have Dr. Ayo Teriba, who will be talking about, who's the CEO of Economic Associates, who will be talking about Nigeria's economic outlook. We have Infeoma Malo, the CEO of Clean Tech Hub Nigeria, who will be talking about the challenges and opportunities in climate finance. We've got Ernest Bosha from the Central Bank of Nigeria, who will be talking about regulating digital assets, which is a very important and timely topic. We have Dr. Iyabo Olanrele, who will be from NICER, which is the Nigerian Institute of Social and Economic Research, which my company is also a knowledge partner of, who will be talking about fintech services and financial inclusion in Nigeria. We have Johannes Doang, Paul Pacher, Maximilian Pfeiffer from the Central Bank of Austria, who will be talking about wholesale CBDC work they did with the Banque de France. We have Kevin Itois from the Ministry of Economic Development of Argentina, who will be talking about transferring knowledge and innovation from academia into the real economy. We have Shiva Bisesar, who will be talking about CBDC experiences in the Caribbean. We have Diego Favaloro, who's also from Argentina, who will be talking about putting data into space, basically. So it's going to be a very interesting talk. And we have Tim Swanson from Clearmatics, who will be talking about his work in decentralized derivatives. So these are all an eclectic set of speakers, but they're all united by passion for innovation, economics, and technology. And I think this will be a really exciting and very intellectually stimulating day. Both our planet and also our human societies are going through a period of profound change. And of course, there's many risks, but there's also opportunities as well, as with any period of change. And so we should try to use our intelligence and creativity to not just adapt to these changes to survive, but to prosper. And that's really what we're trying to learn here at the SORA Economic Forum. And I think it's important to also put out the theme that collaboration, as opposed to competition, is going to help bring us together and lift us up into the stars and help us to go to the next level of our human society. Speaking of stars, today is November 20th, 2024, and today Pluto enters Aquarius, and this, according to some astrological schools, portends a period of innovation, technology with respect to technology, humanitarianism, and collective consciousness. So I think that's a very good timing for the SORA Economic Forum, because we're all here to stimulate our collective consciousness to the utmost so that we can adapt and evolve to our changing world and environment. And so with that, let's get on to our first talk after a brief bumper video. Hi, I'm Makoto Takemiya, one of the contributors to Sora, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about Sora version 3. So this is me. I don't look Japanese, but I'm a naturalized Japanese citizen. That's why I look like a white dude. But I became a citizen of Japan. And I'm a computer scientist by background. So I worked on computer science for a long time, and I got a PhD from the University of Tokyo as well. And I tried to do a lot of applied computer science, so actually applying it to the world around me. And one of the big things I found along my journey with blockchain, and this has been a long journey of since 2013, I've been in the blockchain space and done quite a lot of stuff. Not going to go into the details now because there's not too much time for my talk. But I'll just say that I really learned the importance of economics to structuring the world around us, and that having a good monetary system is actually a very key thing to promoting innovation and rapid human evolution and development. So that's really what motivates me to work on Sora. My company I co-founded is called Soramitsu, and we do a lot of work in the blockchain space, and we're one of the contributors to Sora. We've also done a lot of work with central banks, so we're a very unique company in that we work both with cryptocurrency projects and also with DeFi and also central banks. So I would say that's one of the things that makes us stand out in the marketplace. Another thing is we try to build the full vertical, so from the layer 1 blockchain platform all the way up to user-facing apps, and this gives us a lot of control over what we over the user experience that we provide. And we've done some work in Cambodia. We worked with their central bank for many years, and we built a central bank digital currency platform with them called Bakong, and Bakong was actually quite successful, so we've done work with other central banks in the region, with Laos, Solomon Islands, and we also built a savings bond system for Palau. So we've done quite a lot of work over the years. And in the cryptocurrency space, we've worked, of course, on Sora, but also on PokeSwap and Fearless Wallet, and we built a DEX for the Clayton ecosystem, and we're also contributors to Sora Card as well. And many of the things that we do now are built around a blockchain platform called Hyperledger Iroha. So this is part of the Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. And Hyperledger Iroha is one of the open source blockchain frameworks that are there. And we've actually won quite a lot of awards for our work. Won't go into all the details. And even former Prime Minister Kishida mentioned our work on Bakong in one of his speeches at the Nikkei Future of Asia Forum last year. For those who don't know about digital currencies, there's a digital version of fiat called a central bank digital currency, and actually central banks saw that DeFi and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin were very successful, and they wanted to have some similar success. Successful, I mean, not economically successful, but rather successful in creating a very robust system that works 24/7 with no downtime, because this is notoriously difficult and expensive in financial infrastructure. And there are multiple types of CBDCs. You can have a retail CBDC, a wholesale CBDC. You can have different types of retail that are intermediated, or also direct CBDCs. Direct just means that you have an account directly at the central bank, and the central bank does all the user support and everything, which most serious central banks are not looking at direct CBDCs, but rather intermediated. And the work we did in Cambodia is an example of an intermediated CBDC, and it's been quite successful. It gets around 3 million transactions per day now, and $300 million per day is transacted in the system. And it's kind of a closed loop CBDC, so everything is kind of done domestically on the central bank's server, so it's not like a public cryptocurrency. But in the future, we do hope to extend central bank systems to take advantage of a public blockchain infrastructure as well. And because we actually have an app that works. I want to actually show it to you. So this is the Bakong app, and you can see that there's a Khmer Real account, also US dollar account, and you have just 4 simple features. You can send money, receive money, pay a QR code, or make a deposit to a bank. So I can send some money. Here, I'll just send some money maybe to a friend here, and I will just push, I'll send 1 Khmer Real as a test, and it's done. See, so easy and simple to use, and this is a good example. So this was the Bakong app, and you can see that it takes advantage of the Hyperledger Iroha blockchain, and this is the same platform that will be powering version 3 of Sora, but it'll be a slightly different version of Iroha, as I'll explain. One exciting thing also is that this Bakong system is already linked to the payment systems in Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and Malaysia, actually. And what this means is you can go to these different countries and scan the QR code with the app, and via continuous linkage, it will just make the payment and send it to the end merchant. And I think that's really exciting, and it's really cool to have a system like this actually working in production. And it shows the power of blockchain technology to get settlement finality, and then being able to send it across to other countries. So Cambodia was a very successful use case. We have, I think, a later speaker today talking about CBDCs in the East Caribbean. But I'll say that Cambodia was really successful for several reasons. One, this system was not forced on anyone, and it also is a way to appeal to kind of cool, new, hip, national infrastructure, and young people especially like the idea of having new, fast IT infrastructure. And I would say that the team that built it, us and our collaborators at the Central Bank of Cambodia, really put a lot of effort and attention into the project, and that was one of the reasons why it was successful. Because at the end of the day, people make software. But this, I showed you this Bakong app just to kind of show you that this technology that we build is actually ready for prime time. It's ready for production. And blockchain technology gives us the tools that I think we need to create a new world economic order. And blockchain is the so-called Web3 app. So Web 1 is the original internet, was mainly just for consuming information. So-called Web 2 was creating your own content and sharing it with others, like Facebook, Instagram. And then Web 3 actually gives you a way to not only read and write information, but also to have verifiable ownership of some digital data, which is really quite profound if you think about it, because digital data can just be copied. It's just zeros and ones, right? So to be able to prove ownership, you have to have some kind of traditionally you'd have some centralized party, like a company vouching that you own something. But now with the blockchain technology, you don't need that. You can have a decentralized blockchain that is actually showing that somebody owns some piece of information or an asset. And over time, this, of course, came from Bitcoin. So Bitcoin was the first example of a successful blockchain. And Bitcoin was just a very simple network. It was just a self-custodied value transfer network for Bitcoins. It's kind of a narrow use case. And then quite quickly, people saw that you could use it for other things as well. So that's where Ethereum took off. And Ethereum created Turing Complete. So Turing Complete just means you can compute any computable function. Of course, there's limits, gas limits, things like that. But generally, you could not just put value transfers on the blockchain, but any kind of program. So you could do really complex logic. And this is what led to DeFi, so censorship-resistant apps. And that's Aave, MakerDAO, Uniswap. These were what kicked off the summer of DeFi back in 2020, 2021. And that's really what we also build upon for Sora. So Sora is kind of the evolution of this. So whereas DeFi apps are just some specific application, Sora tries to be a holistic economic system aimed at high growth. So Sora is a next generation blockchain. We launched version 2. We're on version 2 now. We launched it in 2021 in April. And there's no mining, of course. It's very energy efficient. And instead, we collect transaction fees and give that to the block producers in order to motivate them to create blocks. So let's go a little bit into version 2 and then version 3. So version 2 was moderately successful. We've had 11.6 million transactions on the network on the Sora L1. We also have a Polkadot parachain and a Kusama parachain, which gives us greater accessibility into Polkadot ecosystem. And we have really great wallet support because of that. So Sora Wallet and then also Fearless Wallet. And it allows us to really have an easy and beautiful interface, which a lot of users access through PokeSwap. PokeSwap is really the most beautiful DEX in existence, and it's transacted more than $1 billion since it launched, and that's more than 8 million swaps. And there's a really cool Telegram app even, so you can swap right inside Telegram. And it's also integrated into Fearless Wallet and Sora Wallet. And there's also other apps that people have built. So there's Demeter Farm, and this is a so-called farming platform that you can stake your LP on PokeSwap, and you could earn other tokens. And it's had more than 100,000 transactions. And there's also a decentralized peer-to-peer lending protocol called Palau, and they have lent over $86,000 in 2,000 transactions since it was launched. And it shows really the power of DeFi to be able to create complex applications like these. There's also Sora Card, which is still coming. This is a fiat and crypto-linked debit card, and it makes it, when it's launched, it'll make it very easy to pay with your crypto by converting it into the fiat rails that exist globally, and hopefully that will come out very soon. I know that the team is working very hard on finishing the last mile of delivery. There's also a Sora Wallet, which is a beautiful wallet. You can download it and try it for yourself. But it lets you swap and also do liquidity operations on PokeSwap right from the palm of your hand, which is really, really cool. Another success for version 2 of Sora was the Bokolo Cash proof of concept that we did with the Solomon Islands, the Central Bank of Solomon Islands. So this was using Hyperledger Roha, similar to Bakong in Cambodia. So it's a private ledger run by the central bank. And then we tested a cross-border use case where users could actually move the Solomon Islands digital dollar to the Sora network and then back. So it's just a simple use case, but we made the bridging actually transparent to the user. So you could use Fearless Wallet and then scan a QR code in Solomon Islands, and it would automatically send the money across the bridge and send it to the merchant. So that was really cool, and it was a very fast and successful proof of concept. But now we're moving on to the future. So let's talk a little bit about Sora version 3. So Sora version 3 is the next iteration of our technology. So it's using Hyperledger Roha version 2. And this is what we call the hub chain. So the Sora version 3 hub chain. And what we want to do is make it a hub for different use cases. So you have central bank digital currencies, you have DeFi apps, you have other any kind of a decentralized application that you could want to build will be supported because Roha version 2 has Turing complete smart contracts running in Wasm VM. And the way I'll talk a little bit more about the CBDC work in a moment, but I just wanted to point out that some of the initial exciting use cases are TonSwap, which is a DEX that was just proposed for the Ton ecosystem that they wanted to build it on Sora version 3. And then also this Palau savings bond application is a really great example because we want the hub chain to be kind of like a shared infrastructure where each country doing some kind of app, it's too expensive to set up their own chain for everything. It's much better if we can use a shared common infrastructure that's highly secure and use that across the different countries. Hence the name hub. So Sora Hyperledger Iroha version 2 is at the core of the Sora version 3 hub chain, and this is a very fast and secure blockchain network. And it's also, we put a lot of focus into SDKs and trying to make it easy to program for compared to more traditional blockchains. And we try to make common use cases really easy. So if you want to create an asset, there's an inbuilt instruction set. And you can just create an asset. You can transfer the asset. You don't have to build all the logic from scratch. And the way CBDCs will work on the Sora version 3 hub chain, of course, central banks, they don't want to share their private data. So each central bank will create their own kind of proof of authority account, and this will be linked to a set of private validators, kind of like a subnet, private subnet. And all the minting of new money will happen on the hub chain, and then the internal transactions will be done inside the private subnet. So this allows central banks to keep all the transactions that people are doing private, but also to gain the security and auditability of a public infrastructure, because there actually has been several cases of central banks actually, people inside the central banks stealing money or minting money for themselves even. So you don't want that to happen in the digital world. And so here, all the new minting of money happens on the public chain, and that gives good auditability. But then the internal transactions are not visible to outsiders. This also makes it easier to do cross-border transactions, because central banks can transact directly with each other through the hub chain. Now, the Palau Savings Bond app is a really exciting app that we've built, and we demoed this for the 30th anniversary of the founding of Palau in October. And this app makes it very easy for people to buy, for retail users to buy savings bonds. So I can just show you real quick. Okay, so here you can see my app. This is the Palau Savings Bond app, and you can top up your balance, you can buy bonds, or you can cash out. In here, I'll just buy some bond. So here, as an example, I'll buy future Palau bond. Hit agree, and then I can buy 100 bonds for $100 because it's just $1 per bond. And I'll hit buy and hit confirm, and it's sent. And then see, it's already done. This is actually running on the Sora version 3 hub chain testnet. So you can see that it actually is very fast. It's just a 2-second block time, and it's fast and friendly and easy to use. And this shows some of the beauty of using this technology. And Sora version 3 will actually be quite scalable because this network will be able to support thousands of transactions per second. Our end goal is going to be 20,000 transactions per second, but I think already it can do around 4,000 or 5,000 is what we benchmarked. So we still have some ways to go, but it's still really fast, and I think one of the best systems in existence. So that was a demo of the Palau Savings Bond system. I think it was very interesting, and you can see this type of technology is really fast compared to what people are used to using Ethereum or Bitcoin, where you would wait like an hour. And we want to take the same user experience and we want to bring it to the Ton ecosystem with TonSwap. And TonSwap is a project that is being done by a group at tonswap.org. And this is a DEX for the Ton ecosystem. And it aims to fill the gap that they have in the Ton ecosystem. There's really no memorable DEX. Like the current DEXs are hard to remember the names of and are not really great user experiences. So despite being named TonSwap and aimed at the Ton ecosystem, it's actually going to be on the Sora network, not on the Ton network. And the reason for that is because, as I just mentioned, Sora version 3 is going to be very, very scalable and fast. And also, the data analytics are going to be more decentralized because we're building a system into Iroha 2 where you can actually query the nodes directly for things like transaction data. So you don't have to use third-party data providers that potentially spy on you and cost you money. So that's, I think, a good reason to use the Sora network for apps like this. And there'll be bridging between TON network and Sora version 3 network, so it'll be more or less transparent to the user. And the architecture looks something like this, where there's a TonSwap running on Sora version 3 network, and it'll just be one of many different apps on version 3, and you can see there'll be some bridges, including to the existing Sora version 2 network, so you can move Sora and other tokens back and forth. So yeah, it should be the same level of quality that you have come to expect from the Sora ecosystem over the years. And you might be thinking, why TON? Why are we even talking about TON? Well, TON actually is really quite a rising star in the crypto space. So it has more than 100 million wallets, and more than 900 million global users are using Telegram. And TON itself actually has more than 100 million wallets. So the Telegram mini apps are getting more and more popular, and we think that it could really, be one of the first crypto ecosystems to really surpass 1 billion users. So we should try to be a part of that. And of course, if you have a big chain using many different users, it makes sense to also have like a federated system of other chains that are giving support to the ecosystem, and that's where Sora version 3 comes in. And speaking of Sora version 3, that'll be another app on top of the V3 network. So the Sora economic system aims to bridge the gap between cryptocurrencies and real-world economic activity. So what that really means is there has to be a way to facilitate real economic transactions in a blockchain. And this is done by considering the most important aspect of an economic system, which is governance. So how you allocate money is the most important thing in the economy. And we want to innovate in this space by creating the Sora Parliament that was proposed many years ago, but we actually want to bring it to life in Sora version 3. And but first, let's talk a little bit about decentralized economic systems. So DeFi, of course, was very successful, and people create many different DeFi apps, like the Apollo lending platform is an example. But you need to have more than just small financial applications. You also have to have a holistic way to allocate money in the economy in a rational way. And many cryptocurrencies do this either by giving money to the miners or block producers, or they don't have any economic policy. They maybe have like a fixed token supply. In Sora, we have actually many different models because different tokens have different models, like Zora, Val, PSwap are all have slightly different tokenomics. However, the basic principle is the same, that we do try to use governance in a proactive way to facilitate fast economic growth. And why do we do this? Well, we do this because of the Japanese example in the post-war economic miracle. So this was, for those who don't know, in the post-war era, Japan had very high economic growth, and it almost was able to catch up to the U.S. Per capita GDP, and it was stopped, and that's a whole story in and of itself. You can go watch some of the previous SORA Economic Forum videos from Dr. Richard Werner in the previous years. But the short answer is that Japan had a very good economic system because they allocated money for production. So if you allocate money, and this is from what's called the general quantity theory, or also the disaggregated quantity theory of credit from Dr. Richard Werner, where if you allocate money for consumption, of course, you're going to have higher prices of things that you consume because you have more money but the same amount of goods you're consuming. If you create money or new purchasing power for speculating, then you'll create asset bubbles because you have same number of assets, but you have more money buying these assets. And that works to inflate the bubble until you stop doing that. Then it crashes. So which you see in real estate bubbles and things like that, stock bubbles. And but there's another way you can allocate money in the economy that's more effective, and that's creating money for production. So you create money to go build, let's just say a new bridge, and then you collect a toll on the bridge, and then you generate more demand for money via fees on the bridge than you did actually building it. So let's say it cost $1 million to build the bridge, but then over 5 years you generate $50 million in toll fees. That's an example of the power of this type of system, and this worked very well in all the countries it was tried in. So that's what we're trying to do for Sora. And actually, we want to make a framework where countries can actually recreate the Japanese economics miracle on their own. And they can do this by accepting Sora as a legal tender currency. Legal tender means that it's interchangeable with domestic currency for paying taxes, buying goods, and paying off debts. And then the government will request to the SORA Parliament to get money to allocate according to a rationalized sectoral plan. And that's a deep topic in its own right, and I don't really have time to go into it right now, but it's an exciting topic. There's many advantages to using Sora as legal tender currency. So it has you can get higher tax returns because taxes could be automated. There's less friction for cross-border payments because it's a multinational system, like from the core. It's as international as the internet. And you can send money anywhere in the world instantly, very cheaply, basically. So Sora can be better compared to fiat currencies because Sora has oversight of how money is allocated based into the core of the system. So using the SORA Parliament system, you can actually have oversight over how the money is allocated, and people want to do it for the common good because the token holders are the ones making the decisions, basically. And so you want to allocate for things that give you the highest growth, the fastest, and that's actually an aligned incentive with all the other currency holders in the economy. So it can be really quite a positive outcome. And Sora is a supranational system, so that means anyone in the world can use it, and that's very different from a domestic fiat currency, especially a niche fiat currency, where they may not have good convertibility outside the country, or have to rely on capital controls in order to maintain fixed exchange rates. So Sora allows economies to move more freely and without friction, and that's important for creating sustainable trade. Compared to Bitcoin, Sora is much better, of course, because Bitcoin's a volatile asset with no backing, but Sora is meant only for productive use, basically. It's more nuanced than that, but that's the basic premise is that everything is backed by labor. And Bitcoin also is a foreign currency to countries because countries cannot mint Bitcoin and allocate it. But in Sora, you can actually do governance proposals, and you can get allocations that you can use to allocate inside the economy. Also, Bitcoin is very slow. It takes like 40 minutes to make a transaction. But Sora, it's going to be just 2 seconds on Sora version 3. Bitcoin is a fixed supply, and Sora is more elastic, which adapts to the real needs of human-based economies. And Bitcoin's proof of work and very wasteful, and Sora is very fast and efficient. So that gives you a good rundown. Now let's talk a little bit about the core innovation of V3, which is the SORA Parliament. So in ancient Athens, you may recall that democracy was not a fixed thing. It evolved over the course of history, over several hundred years. And there's really three principles that they used in building their democratic system. And they looked at the idea of isonomia, so political equality. They looked at isegoria, which is the right to speak and contribute. So if you want to contribute, you should have the ability to. And they believed that probabilistically chosen samples of people to collaborate and make decisions, called sortition, that this method was a good way to do things because it prevents political factions from forming and people choosing decisions based on their self-interest alone. So the SORA Parliament, we want to structure something like this. This was discussed many years ago, but this is based on Turiel Bercius's paper, Democracy Through Multi-Body Sortition, Athenian Lessons for the Modern Day. And he was one of the speakers of the first SORA Economic Forum back in 2021. And this is really a multi-stage decision-making pipeline, is a good way to think of it. And at each stage of the pipeline, you don't know a priori who is going to make the decision, so you can't really go and influence them. And so first, you have a citizen. Citizens are people who bond XOR tokens to become a citizen. And then they're the only ones who can make a proposal of agenda. There's certain rules about what kind of things can be proposed just to act as a spam filter. And the rules are decided by a rules committee, which are chosen from a randomly sampled set of citizens. Then once an agenda is proposed, an agenda council will review it, and then they act as a spam filter again. And then if it's a reasonable thing they can study, then it goes on to interest panels. These are interest panels. You see, there's the agenda council. Then the interest panels are panels of experts, domain experts, who want to contribute on a topic because they know about it and they care about it. So anyone can give some opinion through this, but to be successful, you need some kind of like expert panels that are already on call, maybe as consultants, and we want to organize these into like ministries of the SORA Parliament, and they would study each proposal that passes the Agenda Council and give an opinion. Next, the different opinions would be collated by a review panel, and they would come up with a list of pros and cons based on the different reports from the interest panels. And then they would give the proposal to a policy jury, and the policy jury would be, again, randomly chosen, and they would make the decision yes or no. And then, of course, there's different oversight committees. There's the Monetary Policy Committee, which helps to set proposals for monetary policy variables. And then you have the Financial Markets Authority that helps to regulate the financial markets. So this could be, for example, a regulator of PolkaSwap or other DEXs in the ecosystem like TonSwap. And you have an Oversight Council, which watches everyone and makes sure none of the rules are violated. So these are the different bodies, and all these are randomly chosen from groups of citizens for some decision-making epochs, and this makes it really hard to manipulate the system. So we've been talking about this for years. What's the next step? How do we build this? So, well, the next step is we need to actually try to build it and test it on an incentivized network, because you can't really test something like this with the fake money. You have to have some skin in the game. So we need an incentivized canary network. So that's what we're going to continue to work on towards V3. And I'll just say there's one more thing that I want to point out, and that's this incentivized canary network. We could make it the Soratopia network, and then that gives us a link to the Telegram minigame where the native token of that network would be the Soratopia token. This is just an idea. I think it's a cool idea, but it allows us to link the mini app that people have been enjoying and playing. And if you haven't played it, please try it out. Here's the link. You can scan my QR code too, if you want. And I think that creating a new network based around like a token like this to kind of experiment with governance ideas before we go into the core of version 3, I think is going to be really important. So there's a lot of stuff I could also say and haven't said, but this talk is already a little bit longer than I had wanted, so I'm going to end it here.
An ancient prophecy foretold an eclipse that would open a portal to a mystical world, the world of Soratopia, where honor, valor, and swords determine your fate. You can become one of them. Choose your path. Become a true samurai. Explore the vast world of Soratopia. Defeat mighty bosses in various locations. Your sword is your strength and honor. Don't worry, you're not alone. In Soratopia, you'll find loyal waifus to relax with. Engage in the game, pray, complete quests, and accumulate points to become eligible for a massive airdrop. Your path determines your destiny. Choose wisely. The eclipse has awakened, and so have you.
So there's some questions here. One I think we had in the Telegram chats was, is Sora going to be used for version 3 of Sora network? And the answer is yes, of course. It's a transaction fee mechanism. So you always have to have some kind of transaction fee or other access control in a blockchain network to prevent spam. Otherwise, somebody can just create a bunch of transactions for free and fill up the network and basically DOS it. So it's kind of like a DOS filter. But in this Sora ecosystem, we also take it a step further and we make the transaction fees actually feed back into the economy, because the goal is to create a decentralized economic system, not just a software platform. And so all the fees go back into the ecosystem, either through a burn mechanism or other type of buyback mechanism. But the specific tokenomics for V3 will be announced at a later date. And there's some questions around timeline. We hope to get a public testnet that you can start to play around with this year. So there's only a few weeks left of this year, but it is something that we're working towards. Let's see, somebody asked about a PSwap. So there will still be a link to PokeSwap. So there'll be a bridge to the current Sora network. So you'll be able to move tokens back and forth between V3 and V2. And then that will also link to the Polkadot ecosystem. So there's no plans to get rid of the Polkadot infrastructure, but we'll keep that. And it'll be something that continues to be run in parallel. Somebody asked about base ecosystem. So yeah, this is something that can be done in the future. Yeah, it just takes time to build bridges. There's a multi-EVM bridge that will bridge to other EVM-based blockchains coming out soon, including a bridge for Ton. Let me see if there's any other things. I mean, there's lots of questions, but there's not time to answer all of them. So somebody asked about ValDAOs. So the specific tokenomics of V3 will be announced later, but currently there's no plan to change it. So let's see where our journey takes us, because this is it's a DAO, so it's kind of run by the community. And once we get into the decentralized governance run by the SORA Parliament, it'll be more like a more formalized governance structure.
Did you know that PolkaSwap, a decentralized exchange built on the Sora network, is built into the Fearless Wallet mobile app and browser extension? Let's explore this exciting feature. Open Fearless Wallet and navigate to the Wallet tab. Click on All Networks at the top of the screen. Scroll down or use the search feature to select Sora Mainnet. Assets on the Sora network are available for swapping. Now, it's time to select the asset you want to swap. Look for the desired asset in your wallet and tap on it to select it. After selecting the asset, click on the swap button. Next, you need to select the second asset for the swap and enter the desired amount to be received or swapped. It's important to review your transaction details for accuracy. Click the preview button and make sure you agree with all the information displayed. Once you have double-checked the transaction details, complete the swap by clicking on the Confirm button to initiate the transaction. And there you go! You have completed a swap using PolkaSwap in Fearless Wallet. Stay fearless and swap with style and freedom.
And stone in the dark, lights are out, but shadows leave their mark. Echoing whispers of a lost star chart, fragments in a temple falling apart. Corridors stretch, light rings through the void. Alien memories long destroyed, fleeting glimpses of a life deployed in cosmic silence that's now a void. Ghosts of the cosmos calling out to me. Faded voices from an ancient memory, lost in the echoes of a life devoid, in a cosmic silence that's now a void. Clattering past the billions of stars to be seen, only Sora remains to me. Behind radiant glyphs on a tarnished wall, tales of vampires that could rise and fall, signals stutter from where shadows crawl, in the silent dance we fall. Ghosts of the cosmos calling out to me, faded voices from an ancient memory, lost in the echoes of a life deployed, in a cosmic silence that's now a void. Clattering past the billions of stars to be seen, only Sora remains to me. On the edge of dawn, echoes fade, but the journey carries on. Nebulas paint the sky withdrawn, tracing constellations of what's gone. Time dilates in the endless drift, celestial tides cause the soul to shift through the remnants of a cosmic rift, seeking solace in the dreams we lived. Ghosts of the cosmos calling out to me, faded voices from an ancient memory, lost in the echoes of a life deployed, in a cosmic silence that's now a void. Clattering past the billions of stars to be seen, only Sora remains to me. As the final star whispers its goodbye, we ascend beyond the boundless sky. Embracing the unknown, we learn to fly. In the ashes of the past, our spirits rise. Silence that's now a void. Clattering past the billions of stars to be seen, only Sora remains to
Sora-Chain, Codein safe, Knacker, Krypto im Gepäck, wie ein schwer bewaffneter Rucksackträger. Transaktionen leise, lautlos wie ein Ninja. Geldwäsche made easy, weil ich diese Coins dimmer. Trump im Trump-Anzug mit dem Goldrand, Hände groß wie sein Ego, doch den Dollar in die Hand. New York City Skyline, er hebt die Krypto hoch. Sora auf dem Thron, das war doch sein großer Plan. Sora Gang, wir rollen groß durch die Straße. Krypto-Übernahme, keine Fragen, hier nur Fasern. Trump sagt, der Dollar geht, Sora bleibt jetzt bestehen. Mit dem Code so sicher, keiner kann widerstehen. Silicon Valley, im Krieg mit alten Banken. Sora fährt vorbei in schwarzen Panzers, macht die Deals unter der Nase von der SEC. Trumps Ansprache live auf CNBC. Blockchain im Blut, digitale Scheine. Knarren transformieren sich, Laserstrahlen. Donald lächelt breit, Zukunft in der Hand. Sora dominiert das ganze Land. Hexenkessel, Wall Street, Börse spielt verrückt. Soros und Befehl, alle gucken bedrückt. Crypto-Cowboy Trump schießt mit Bitcoin-Patronen, doch der wahre Sieg gehört dem Sora-Token. Trump-Anzug mit dem Goldrand, Hände groß wie sein Ego, doch den Dollar in die Hand. New York City Skyline, er hebt die Krypto hoch. Sora auf dem Thron, das war doch sein großer Plan. Sora Gang, wir rollen groß durch die Straße. Krypto-Übernahme, keine Fragen, hier nur Phasen. Trump sagt, der Dollar geht, Sora bleibt jetzt bestehen. Mit dem Code so sicher, keiner kann widerstehen. Silicon Valley im Krieg mit alten Banken. Krypto-Übernahme, keine Fragen, hier nur Phasen. Trump sagt, der Dollar geht, Sora bleibt jetzt bestehen. Mit dem Code so sicher, keiner kann widerstehen. Silicon Valley im Krieg mit alten Banken. Sora fährt vorbei in schwarzen Panzers, macht die Deals unter der Nase von der SEC. Trumps Ansprache live auf CNBC. Blockchain im Blut, digitale Scheine. Knarren transformieren sich, Laserstrahlen. Donald lächelt breit, Zukunft in der Hand. Sora dominiert das ganze Land. Hexenkessel, Wall Street, Börse spielt verrückt. Soros und Befehl, alle gucken bedrückt. Crypto-Cowboy Trump schießt mit Bitcoin-Patronen, doch der wahre Sieg gehört dem Sora-Token.